Okay, we got 30 seconds.
Okay, sorry.
30 seconds to the start time. I actually want to do this. Yeah, let's get it right on the dot. Pull out of my stat sheet that could take about 10 seconds.
Oh my god. Bro,
Careful,
make the 2
SpongeBob.
o'clock. You gotta make the 2 o'clock.
Careful, SpongeBob. Careful, SpongeBob. Careful, SpongeBob.
Bro, what the hell was that?
We're all good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Heavily Contested Podcast, the podcast where
The Raiders lost. We lost.
sunken back down to reality for Raiders fans.
Nobody cares.
But that's not how we're gonna.
Over.
We'll get to that later. At the moment, here's my I'm Alejandro Flores. This is my co-host Travis Dampierre, of course. But what we want to get into is we have now hit the quarter mark of the season. 4 weeks have passed by.
It's been a great 4 weeks.
Like that, and it has been a great 4 weeks of football. So we have now hit the official quarter mark of the season, as we have about, what is it? It looks like, I'm not good at math.
It's all right, Dro. I think we got 13 games left. And, yeah, so we created top 10 NFL teams.
Yes, so we did. So what we did is for the quarter mark of the season, we decided to make our list out for what we think are our top 10 teams so far. We have some honorable mentions, and we also are going to go over some of our award picks so far, who are our award favorites so far into the season. Now, we're not giving our prediction. We're not trying to line them up with the predictions that we made earlier in the year.
It's just right now.
This is just right now because, of course, many things can change.
So how you want to do this? You want to go back like one,
Yeah.
my one, your one?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, well, first, let me go with my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Because we got to say honorable mentions.
Yeah.
First honorable mention, just letting you guys know off rip, your team didn't make the list.
I wouldn't expect them to.
But they're an honorable mention because of the talent that they have on the team.
I like that.
So I have to put them on the list. They just haven't won many games. Also, who's on the list, honorable mentions, is the Ravens. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson.
An honorable mention, though.
Honorable mention. Because, they have won games, but at the same time, I still feel like Lamar's doing a lot. So I feel like eventually he may lose a game.
Okay.
A lot of games.
Interesting. I guess let me just name off 2 honorable mentions I need to say. The Panthers, honorable mention. The Panthers have played actually solid football. They may have lost this week, which I'll get into, but I still think for the most part they actually look like a solid team when healthy. The problem is now is Christian McCaffrey got hurt and J.C. Horn got hurt, who looked really good so far.
J.C. Horn, they really needed to.
But let's see, again, the reason why I have him as an honorable mention too is I just said it's too early to tell with this team. But more so than other 3-1 teams like the Bengals, they actually look good. The Panthers actually look solid compared to other 3-1 teams that I can say.
Oh, I thought you were saying the Bengals look good.
No. Oh. Compared to other 3-1 teams, that are suspect, I think the Panthers are definitely on the higher part of that listing. Another honorable mention I have to mention is the Browns. Surprise, surprise! The Browns did not make my top 10. I put here in big notes if you can see. I put in exclamation points. Will move up because they will move up. But so far at this point,
right now they ain't there right now.
So far, I feel like there's too many inconsistencies with the offense, and they haven't been as dominant as they looked. I think the best game that they played was the one against Kansas City that they ended up losing.
You know who is dominant, though, is Myles Garrett. You seen the royalty on?
Yes. Yeah. Well, so then the defense has picked it up now. But I still think their best outing as a complete team was against Kansas City.
That was a great game.
That was a great game that they played. But I haven't seen that same Browns team. That doesn't mean I won't, though. But just right now at the moment, I got to put them as an honorable mention.
So are we going 10, start off at 10, build up to 1? Because I feel like 1's kind of obvious.
Yeah, but come on. We got to go from 10 to 1.
Okay, so let's start from 10. So my 10 is the Browns.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying?
They're 11 for me if you want to say.
Reason why also I feel like Baker needs to be more consistent. We all seen that play where my boy Odell wide open.
Yeah.
Throw me the ball, Baker.
Their chemistry still hasn't clicked yet.
Get the ball to him.
Yeah, 100%.
Who's your number 10? Bro?
The Raiders.
Okay, I can respect that we're in the top 10.
The Raiders.
I don't like that we're 10, but
the only reason I put them, the main reason why I put them up there is because they have the big game beating the Ravens. Mm-hmm. That's the most impressive way. The other two, though, looking at it now, just in the bigger grand scheme of things,
Steelers aren't that good.
And the Dolphins, and the fact that that was a close game too.
Yeah.
That the Colts handled. And so it's just the last 2 wins aren't super impressive. Although, the main reason why I kept you in my top 10 is because of the game you played against the Chargers. You're probably like, that doesn't make any sense. You guys lost that game, right? I liked what I saw, how the Raiders handled adversity.
Yeah.
How they kind of mounted back there. Like, I'll be honest, watching the game, I was getting scared that Travis was about to have another victory on his hands there. So, but they mounted back. They looked strong, and Derek Carr still looks poised. He made a couple mistakes here and there, but for the most part, I see consistency in that Raiders team, and I still think they'll be a solid team.
Yeah. I'm not. Should I have my full Raiders thing right now, or should I hold on?
No. We'll hold off because we're giving a full game recap, and there's other teams I want to talk about for that game.
Okay, yeah. So now, number 9, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Now, the reason why they're so low, obviously they're 1-2.
Yes.
Or 1-3, whatever they are. I don't know what the record is, but they only have 1 dub. And
they're 2-2 now. My bad.
They're 2. Who cares?
It's week 4.
Yeah.
It's 2-2.
But whatever. The Chiefs need to figure out this defense really bad
100%.
because they cannot score 40 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen every time. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has shown in the past, but every single game, that's not going to happen.
No, letting the Eagles score 30 was definitely suspect.
The Eagles, too?
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue.
I'm going to agree with you. My number 9 is the Kansas City Chiefs. And the reason why I put the Chiefs at 9 is, I'll say this, most 2-2 teams should not be on this list. The only reason they're on this list still is because we know who Kansas City is.
Yeah.
And I feel like their mistakes have been more on them than it's been other teams figuring them out.
They're killing themselves.
And so defense is definitely the most suspect part of that team. But offensively, people are saying they don't have the same firepower. I think it's I think it's more because they're making mistakes. They're sloppy mistakes. That
and the old line is terrible.
It's not as good as it's been before, but I don't think it's absolutely
it's
awful.
not terrible, but it's not that good.
The thing is, so I just think Kansas City is going to shore up these mistakes. Andy Reid's a good coach. He's going to get this team focused. Once they get refocused, especially going later into the season, I think there's still going to be the Kansas City Chiefs that we all know.
Okay, yeah.
Let me switch it. I'll go 8 now. I'm going with the Ravens at 8.
Okay, you got the Ravens.
I got to put the Ravens up there because they beat the Chiefs. And I also got to put them up there because a 3-0 Broncos team that was hyped up, they went into Denver and handled them. And my biggest thing is I know there's injuries, but I feel like they're starting to figure out who this team is now, despite the injuries. And what I liked about last game is Lamar Jackson was not overused as a runner. Mm-hmm. He was actually more of a passer. He passed for 300 yards in that game.
Brown
and
was having a game too.
And he threw in a great touchdown pass to Marquise Brown. Again, Lamar Jackson's one of the most underrated passers in our game. He's just seen as a running back, but he's not. And I think Lamar Jackson is still showing why he is a top 5 quarterback in this league. And he's doing a great job with this team so far, despite the injuries.
Wait. There's one that you said he's a what?
Top 5 quarterback.
Top 5?
Yeah.
Even with a haircut, top 5?
Yes.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, that's bold. Okay. Well,
it's not too bold.
Number 8, I got the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know there's some Cowboys fans out there like, we're way better than 8. No, let me explain. Okay. Who was the last game against?
The Panthers, who were 3-0.
The Panthers, who were 3-0. Now, the Panthers are a solid team, like you said, but they're honorable mention for you. They would have been right after my honorable mentions. So they're not that good. And the game before was another team that wasn't that amazing. But they did do great against the Bucks.
And they beat the Chargers, too.
They did beat the Chargers. But I still feel like this team is just, they ain't got it all meshed all the way. I do feel like they can beat anybody. They can beat anybody. But I also feel like Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, they're not there all the time.
Okay.
And Zeke is very inconsistent.
Okay.
So that's why I don't fully... They could move up, though.
Okay.
But I got them at 8.
So for 7 for me, I'll get to the Cowboys points later because I do have them on this list, of course. 7, I have the Packers. I think they've turned it around since that atrocious first game. They went into Levi Stadium and won a competitive one there against the Niners. They out game planned Kyle Shanahan in that one. They at home dominated Pittsburgh, and they feel like they're back in rhythm. They look like the team that they were last year. So which is why I got to put them at 7.
You got the Packers at 7. Okay.
In the end, they're still the same team that they were last year, and and Rodgers looking back in form.
Well, for me at 7, I got the best team in the league, the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Now, I mean, I think I was pretty reasonable. I didn't put them too high.
No,
I think Now, this is the thing with the Derek Carr Raiders that we've had, because Derek Carr is the key to us winning games.
Yeah.
As you see in the Chargers, first half he struggled. We went down 21-0.
Yeah.
And in the games past, 400 yards, 400 yards, 400 yards. And we just dominate teams on offense. And our defense just has to be average like they have been.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been a little bit above average in that area. Mm-hmm. But D-line is still great. But
secondary is the main key that needs help.
Yeah, it depends on how good Derek Carr plays that game, because our O-line is the worst O-line in NFL, I feel like.
Well, I definitely don't think the moves that you guys made in the O-line position helped.
Nah, it did not help. We have no O-lineman that should make a Pro Bowl.
But yeah, so let's just say this. The Raiders are definitely not the best team in the league, but I still think, I'll more credit to you guys, I still think you guys look like a solid playoff team.
Yeah, we're going to make the playoffs, 100%.
That was okay. So for 6, I got the team that just beat the Raiders, the Chargers. I slept on this team going into the season. I really didn't believe any of the hype that was going in with the Chargers, but they have proved me wrong completely. Mostly because I knew their offense was going to be solid with Justin Herbert coming for a second year. Many people predicted a sophomore slump with teams figuring him out, but I think Herbert's proven he is. First of all, I just want to say Herbert has one of the prettiest passes.
This is a quarterback speaking, guys.
Yeah, so. Well, no, the spiral on his ball is better than any.
It's just beautiful, huh? Like, you just look at it like, oh man, that was beautiful right there, Justin. My guy Justin is cracked at football, my guy.
But yes, you're completely right. Justin Herbert throws a perfect spiral. He's got just a good zip on the ball. He's accurate, he's precise, and most importantly, he's making great reads in this offense. He's calm, he's poised, he's not panicking. I really like what I'm seeing from this guy. And what's more impressive, though, is that defense. They brought in Brandon Staley, who was the D coordinator for the Rams last year, and led that number 1 Rams defense. And he's coming in this year, and he's game planning perfectly for a lot of these teams. He came into Kansas City, had a game plan, and kind of threw Mahomes and that Chiefs offense off rhythm. And the Raiders offense, who's looked very good, Derek Carr was, for the most part in that first half, was struggling. Yeah. They had 0 total offensive yards in that first quarter. That Chargers defense is legit, but I think it's more because of the head coach. So Brandon Staley deserves his credit. And he's the main reason why this Chargers team is so high up. And they're looking like a solid, possibly a contender. I still want to see more from them. I want to see more from them. But right now, at this point, you have to say that.
Well, I do 100% agree with you, because I have the Chargers at 6 as well. Now, I think the biggest reason for me is Austin Eckler is healthy, and he's been playing great. Like, he had good games last 2, but this game, he destroyed us.
No, this was actually, his best game of his career.
Like, I literally think he slapped us in the mouth and laughed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Keenan Allen, he's always going to be Keenan Allen. He's going to get open. Mike Williams has stepped up this year and became a really good number 2 receiver. Big time. So, and he also could be the number 1, I feel like, if he really wanted to. So, at the same time, the defense, Derwin James is there. So, the Chargers, they have a lot of potential.
No, big time.
But right now, it's hard to put them over the other teams, I would say.
Yeah, and one of those teams that is hard to put them over is number 5, the Cowboys. I think. Travis said that this team doesn't feel complete, but I would have to completely disagree. First of all, Prescott coming off an injury. Looks like it doesn't concern him at all. That shoulder doesn't seem to concern him at all.
And he runs like he don't care.
And he runs like he's perfectly healthy. On the other hand, yeah, sure, Zeke can be inconsistent at times. But Zeke, at his peak so far, in many of these games, especially the Panthers game, looked great. Like 2016 Ezekiel Elliott, top 5 running back, probably top 3 even when he was 2016, right? He has those spurts and he has those moments, and he did last game. And if he could find consistency like that, then it's really dangerous. But even if he is still inconsistent, they got Tony Pollard as a backup, and Tony Pollard is looking great. They got a great receiving core, arguably the best in the league when Michael Gallup even comes back. They got CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper right there. Then you go to the defense, and then you still have DeMarcus Lawrence on the D-line. You have their first-round draft pick, Micah Parsons, who's looking great at the linebacker spot right now.
I know what name you about to say, bro.
Trayvon Diggs. He's the biggest talking point right now for a lot of defensive players because he has 5 interceptions in 4 games. Oh, but it's not just that, because interceptions could,
But that's cute, you know.
Yeah, but like
might not tell the full story.
But the thing is now when you look at the full story, he's not getting scored on either. He is locking down whoever he's playing. Of course, he'll let these yards and these completions here and there, but he's not absolutely getting obliterated, and they just keep throwing up, so that's why he keeps getting interceptions. He's making great reads. It's in zone coverage, too. A play that's happening on the other, like in the middle, and he's on the right side. He came across the field to go get that interception against Sam Darnold.
I was like what Jair Alexander did
in that one game. He's showing great speed. He's showing great knowledge from the defensive position, and he's got great athleticism. But again, it's still not him that stands out. It's Micah Parsons, who they're using at every...
Yeah, he plays everything, like linebacker, edge.
They'll put him as a rusher. They'll put him as a middle linebacker, anything. He's looking great where he is.
I like him. Now, my number 5, I have the Packers.
Okay, wow.
Now, the reason why the Packers are this high is because I feel like they still can be the exact same thing that they were last year. Mm-hmm. And last year, they were a Super Bowl contender.
Yes. 100%.
So, the reason why they're also not too high or too low is because of that week 1 that we seen.
Yes.
You can't just forget about that.
Of course.
Because that was they made the Saints look like they were going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yes.
And now that we look at the Saints.
Yeah.
It's like,
And you realize it was more on the Packers, probably.
Yeah, so if they can play like that, there's a possibility, and I will probably guarantee this, they will play like that again later on this season.
Okay.
Won't happen consistently, but it will definitely happen one more time.
Okay.
Because that is unacceptable. I don't care what the excuse is.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah.
Number 4 for me, the Bucks. Surprisingly, the Bucks did not play as expected against the Patriots. But they're still the Bucks. They're still the only problem right now for the Bucks right now is they're suffering injuries right now. Especially on the defensive end in the DB spot, which is why they had to bring in Richard Sherman. And Richard Sherman looked a little out of shape that first game. But, again, it's his first game, so let's see how he...
Joe, it was I was watching the game highlights, right? I didn't actually watch the game.
Yeah.
And I seen this corner, and I was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
And then when he got the fumble recovery, I was like, that's Richard Sherman?
That's Richard Sherman, yeah.
I was like, wow.
Back in the Bucks.
I didn't think he was going to start for them. I thought he was going to,
well, they need help because they're suffering injuries right now. But in the end, still, the biggest thing about this Bucks team is that offense with Tom Brady, who's still playing at a great level right now. And we've seen the stat line. He's leading the league in passing and passing touchdowns, which is crazy to think about at his age. They got Mike Evans. They still got Chris Godwin. They got Antonio Brown. They got Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. I mean, it's a stacked offense. And even defensively, even with the injuries, that D-line is still formidable. And the linebacker core is arguably one of the best in football with Devin White and Levante David.
I think it is the best.
It is the best, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue that. But yes, so that's the only reason why I still have them up there. Even though they lost to the Rams and looked a little suspect against the Patriots, it's still a great roster, and they've still shown their spurts, especially against a good Cowboys team at the beginning of the season.
Okay, well, obviously by this you're going to tell that I don't have the Bucks at number 4. My number 4 is the Rams. And I know you're not going to like this because you love the Rams and you love Matthew Stafford, but...
I don't love the Rams, but I am anticipating this team to be good. I do love Matthew Stafford, though.
But the Cardinals destroyed the Rams from the last game that we just seen. And the thing is that I have to say, with the Rams, I don't feel like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are going to last long enough to be amazing. You need a receiver a little bit better than Cooper Kupp in order to be one of these top teams. Because all the top 3 teams have a receiver that's in the top 5. Cooper Kupp is not a top 5 receiver.
Although he's looked pretty good. Despite the one game.
But, I mean, stats and what they've done in the game. But
but that correlates with the...
I know what you're saying. But if we were to put a better receiver in that same exact spot, I think he would still do the exact same thing.
Okay, interesting.
That's why I feel like you can't just say because of the stats that Cooper Kupp is a top 5 wide receiver.
Okay, and that's why you have the Rams there?
I have the Rams at number 4.
I have the Rams at 3. Why? Because they're still, even though they got obliterated by the Cardinals, I still think they have one of the best rosters in football, especially with the defense. And I think watching that Cardinals game, it looked more like the Rams were unprepared than it was that the Cardinals were actually just a better team. Like, it's funny enough, I still think I would say the Rams are the best team in that division, almost. I would still say it because even though they won, I still feel like it was more on the Rams just being unprepared. And I feel like coming into that second game that they play, which is why you play division opponents twice, I think the Rams will get them in Arizona. But I still like what I see from this entire roster. And just because it's one game, I'm not gonna just completely over exaggerate with that team. I still think their defense is still Aaron Donald, it's still Jalen Ramsey, we can't forget that. And in the end, they also handled the Bucs at home. So I have to at least put them over the Bucs. And I'm still riding high on this prediction that the Rams will be the Super Bowl winners this year. I think they will progressively get better throughout the season as well. And I think they will get the Cardinals a second time.
All right.
Round.
Well, number 3, I still don't have the Bucs. Number 3 is the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Now, the Bills have the best secondary in the league, no doubt. They can, if you've seen this last game, I just watched them mic'd up. They had a chance for 2 players to get an interception at the same time. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer.
Who
they were both going to go get the
both
interception.
great safeties.
That right there showed me how great the secondary truly is. And on top of that, you got Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs has not really been amazing this year.
But he's gotten a little more in rhythm than how he started.
But, it's still the beginning of the year. And we know what Stephon Diggs can do. Mm-hmm. So, at the same time, you can't just forget about none of that. Cole Beasley, he's solid.
Just a solid.
But
just a solid receiver.
Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs alone is very hard to stop.
Makes that offense.
So, I got to have the Bills pretty high, and I feel like they can compete with almost any team in the league as well.
That. You kind of hit on all the cylinders there. I got the Bills at 2 because the Bills started off rough, but in the next few games, they won 30-0. They won 40. I believe it was 42-28 or 21, and then they won 40-0. They have obliterated. They done what great teams should have. Is in the games that they know they should win. They have absolutely handled the opponents.
They don't play down to their level at all.
They don't play down to any team's level. Remember, Sean McDermott, too, is a great defensive coordinator, which is why that defense is so good. Tre'Davious White as well, to add on to what that great secondary is, with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, who are 2 great safeties. And then offensively, Josh Allen is the real deal. Josh Allen's the real deal. They got 2 actually solid running backs with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. They're not like great running backs, but they do their job.
Solid, yeah.
They do their job. And then, of course, you got Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, who's actually looking really good, too.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just think this Bills team so far, the way they're playing like one of the best teams in football. And let's see how they continue it based on who their opponent is next week. But
now, number 2, finally have the Bucs. Just a little flip-flop.
Little
you
high.
know what I'm saying? But the reason why I have the Bucs there is because they just won the Super Bowl. And I don't see that much of a difference. Though in this last game, it did seem a little scary.
Yes.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I also feel like this games where there's huge rivalries and there's a lot of mind and emotions going into it.
Yeah.
It's not just always whatever the better team is, they're going to demolish them. It doesn't always go like that. 100%. So that's the only big thing is this game looked kind of iffy. Yeah. But besides that, they're the Bucks.
We both know who number 1 is, and we can really quickly go over this.
It's the Cardinals.
It's the Cardinals because they have the best looking offense right now.
They have the best defensive end.
They have
or top 2.
They have a top defense right now with the secondary of Buda Baker, and then you got Isaiah Simmons at the linebacker spot, Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt coming off both edges. That defense looks nice. And then offensively, Kyler Murray is looking like an MVP candidate. Mm-hmm. You got DeAndre Hopkins. A.J. Green looks a little rejuvenated.
Did a little something.
He looks rejuvenated. And you got Christian Kirk. So right now...
And they have a little Rondale Moore in there too.
And... Chase Edmonds at running back with James Conner as well.
Oh, yeah, Chase Edmonds is nice. Yes, I like him.
And James Conner as well. So right now, they're the team. They're playing the best right now, man. They, in the end, credit to them still. They went into Los Angeles and won that game. They've won big games. Undefeated. Yes, undefeated right now. So it's hard to put any team over them right now the way they're looking.
Yeah, they haven't. In most of their games, it hasn't been like they're playing trash teams.
No.
Like, they're playing solid teams, and the Rams are a top team.
They beat a top team, and they beat a considered solid team in the Titans, and also the Vikings, who are solid.
Yeah, so...
That kind of went into the next point, which we're just going to name them off real quick, who we think our MVP candidates are, and just kind of the other predictions for the awards right now at the moment. Obviously, Kyler Murray, I'm assuming, is your top for MVP candidates. I just want to mention my next 2. I think Matthew Stafford is still there with the way he's looked in other moments of the season. I mean, I don't think the way he's looked in those first 3 games, and despite, kind of having an off day on this one, I still think he's still definitely a top candidate for MVP. Number 3, Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert is an MVP candidate. I think Justin Herbert has, the last game he threw 4 touchdowns. This game he threw 3 touchdowns. He has been in rhythm, and he is the main catalyst for why this offense is so good. And because of that, I do think he's the most valuable player for this team.
My MVP candidates, obviously, I got Kyler Murray. Mm-hmm. Got to put Tom Brady in there.
I'm just leading the league in everything.
Leading the league in a lot of things, and his team's winning.
Yep.
3, I got Lamar Jackson.
I like that.
Lamar Jackson
is
the best in his team in passing and rushing.
Yep.
And if you want to talk about most valuable... Tell me right now, if Lamar comes out and RG3 plays, they're not
even doing.
They haven't won 1 game.
No, you're actually 100% correct there.
If Tom Brady comes out and their backup comes in, they could still win.
No.
Kyler Murray comes out, I think they could still win. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson comes out, there's no way they win again.
I like that. I would agree to that point. If the Ravens continue to win like they are, I definitely would agree 100% with Travis that Lamar Jackson deserves to be in that conversation. Offensive Player of the Year. Derrick Henry at 1. Derrick Henry's already at 500 yards rushing, and I know people might say he has way more carries than all these other running backs, but he's still averaging high 4.5 yards per carry and everything. It's still a high yards per carry, and if he's going to carry your offense like that, you might as well give him the ball. So it shouldn't be a knack on him because he carries the ball so much.
Yeah, you can't knock him for that.
Also, I got Tyreek Hill. I know he's not the league leading receiver. That goes to Deebo Samuel. The reason why I don't have Deebo up there, though, is because he's been playing great, but the Niners have not been winning games because of it. On the other hand, Tyreek Hill has been looking great on that Kansas City Chiefs team. He's had one off game against the Ravens, but he's still that deep threat that he's known to be, and he's a game changer for that Chiefs offense.
Okay. Yeah, I have Tyreek Hill as well.
Okay.
My second one, now this isn't because of what he's shown in multiple games, but just that one game against the Niners.
Oh.
I got Devontae Adams.
Okay. I
have to put him in there because against the Niners, I seen that Devontae that I seen last year, where he was dominating and he won the Packers that game. So
still has to be considered one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year. Number 1. Remember, this one was actually my prediction months back. Myles Garrett will be the Defensive Player of the Year. I think so far he is the front. I think so far he's the front candidate with 6 sacks, having 4.5 in one game. And right now he is the main catalyst he's the reason why that Browns defense is playing so well, putting pressure on the quarterback, and just really he's executing the best he's ever had in his career right now. He's a game changer. Number 2, I got Trayvon Diggs. I feel like I have to mention him because of the fact that he is just, he's really shutting down his half of the field, and the plays he's making to get those interceptions, to get those bat downs, those passes defended, he's looking great. And what I really like about him is he looks like he's just able to read the field from his position and see where the ball's going. He's great with his anticipation.
Yeah, I have the same exact 2 people.
All right.
I have Myles Garrett and Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs, you can't dismiss 5 interceptions.
Nope.
He's on pace to break a record, is he not?
Yep, 100%.
So, that's crazy. And Myles Garrett, great Browns defense, and he's the best player on that defense.
100%.
So you got to give it to him as well.
For the next part, most improved, Sam Darnold for me.
Okay.
If there's a most improved player, it's 100% Sam Darnold because of how he looked on the Jets and how he looks now. He's the league leader in rushing touchdowns, and he's looking good as a passer.
That's so crazy.
He's looking good as a passer. Sam Darnold just looks poised, and he looks comfortable in that Carolina offense away from Adam Gase finally. I think that shouldn't be a question that he is the most improved player, but let's see.
For me, I do not have Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I have Jalen Hurts. Now, this is why. The reason why I'm saying that is it's not about his team winning games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that to me. The thing that's important to me is the amount of animosity that he faced.
Yeah.
His team doesn't even want him.
Yeah.
They don't want him
and
at
he
all.
is playing solid.
And he's playing a solid game, and he looked terrible last year.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's even solid enough, because he was definitely got to be the bottom 30.
He was considered, yes.
Yeah. So now I would say he's got to be in the 20 range now.
Yeah.
So Jalen Hurts, I think that he'll
that.
continue getting better, and he's my most
Good
improved.
pick. The offensive rookie of the year, I don't think should be a question right now who that is. Jamar Chase right now is on a tear right now from the receiver spot, looking atrocious in preseason and just absolutely turning it on in the regular season when it counted.
The crazy thing about it is the Bengals made a terrible decision.
I still think
because they did not need a receiver.
No, I don't think they needed him, but I mean the way
he's playing though, I guess they did.
Yeah, well the way he's looking like sometimes it's a guy that you just can't pass up on because he's too good of a talent. Right now he's looking like that. He's looking great out there. Defensive rookie of the year. I got Micah Parsons.
Mine is Michael Parsons as well.
I
had
that.
Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
And I looked over again. I was like, Patrick Surtain? Nah, I can't put Patrick.
Good choice. Micah Parsons,
yeah.
I think, on the Cowboys right now, he's a do-it-all linebacker right now.
And that would be crazy to see if Michael Parsons and Trayvon Diggs both win awards this year.
Yes, and that does first of all
that says a lot about the Cowboys.
Says a lot about the Cowboys defense right now and how good they look.